Warning, this video contains spoilers for Star Trek Discovery Season 1 and Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 6, The Sound of Thunder. The ebb and flow of quality for Discovery continues on. Last week's episode was a real improvement overall for the series. However, I believe that we have once again taken a large step backwards. There's only a few things that I really loved about this episode, so let's go over those first. The visuals, as always, are really breathtaking. From the Ba'ul ships, Kaminar sets, to the Ba'ul themselves, everything looked really impressive. And even though the Ba'ul main chamber was obviously a redressed transporter room, the props and set departments did a pretty decent job of trying to make it look more alien. The Ba'ul themselves were something straight out of a horror film, and I kinda wish we spent more time with them during this episode. The performance of Doug Jones and Hannah Spear, who played Saru's sister Sorana, were really great and one of the few highlights of this episode in my opinion. Some of the shots were really well done at certain points, and I really liked the lighting effects here in this scene. However, the camera work at the beginning of this episode was really jarring for many people. We finally get a good look at the Red Angel, who now appears to be a humanoid wearing some kind of high-tech spacesuit with propulsion wings. I did like how they tied our new view of this being back to Saru's advanced eyesight, which was set up earlier in the season. And for me, that's kind of where the good stuff stops. There were several times Pike lost control of his own bridge to both Saru and Burnham, which is contrary to the character they have established in the previous episodes.
That I might be incapable of following Starfleet regulations, or that I would disobey your orders?
Saru would be invaluable to have by my side.
All right.
We should accept it.
Additionally, now he seems intent on fighting with Tyler about every single topic. Tyler, at least in this episode, is completely regulated at being a negative Nancy and a Section 31 alarmist.
And then what? Just ask nicely. And should be considered dangerous.
So much for knocking on the front door.
A time-traveling being pursuing its own agenda?
Also, I praised the show last week for not bringing up the awkwardness of Tyler being around Stamets and the man he killed, Dr. Culber. It wouldn't have fit emotionally in that episode. But are they just never going to address it at all here? It's kind of weird. Speaking of Culber, they established the A and B plots at the beginning of this episode, with Culber and Saru both feeling rather transformative and unsure about who they are. But after just one other scene of Culber feeling rather awkward, they drop his plot entirely from the episode. We never see any resolution to this story thread and forget about it altogether. Tying this into Stamets as well, who I understand is rather happy to have Culber back, but he's acting completely out of character by seemingly not really being aware of the issues his partner is having. Saru and Sorana break out of the restraints pretty easily and dispatch of those drones rather quickly. Why there weren't more drones sent in the room to use that super fast taser ability, or how Saru quickly assembled a communication device, is beyond me. And finally, we get to the crux of my real problem with this episode. The actions taken by this crew on the world of Kaminar are completely inappropriate for established precedent in Star Trek. For one, they override the Prime Directive for the Red Angel mission, which they've done kind of before, but this is a whole nother level of it. Then, they upset the established order of 2 sentient species on a planet. Then, they force an evolutionary change on an entire planet and species without their permission, and ignore the needs of the Ba'ul, who were right to fear the Kelpians for almost driving them to extinction 2,000 years ago. Like it or not, the Ba'ul won whatever that war was with the Kelpians 2,000 years ago, and established what they felt as a balance between the two species. Yes, they were calling the Kelpians, who were about to lose their ganglia, to keep them more docile, but they were the victors of the war, and they set up the new order. Is it wrong? Yes, it is. But the Discovery has absolutely no right to step in between a non-protected planet's population and try to restructure their entire way of life, force an evolutionary change, and then dismantle the Ba'ul's command ship. Pike, acting again oddly out of character for almost the entire episode, led this mission down a path that could only possibly have a single outcome. The Ba'ul needing to kill the Kelpians before they possibly have a chance to repeat history and kill them off, and the Discovery needing to engage in battle to prevent that. Now, I know there have been countless examples of the Federation interfering with other species and even violating the Prime Directive, but I cannot recall a situation where a Starfleet vessel instigated a conflict, incited a rebellion, and overthrew a ruling power just because they preferred the subspecies more and didn't like the way the ruling class was treating them. I'm not even sure the Ba'u are in the wrong here. We've seen how deadly Saru can be in Season 1, and his hostility towards Pike in this episode is a direct result of his evolutionary process. A hostility that they also drop as a story element halfway through the episode because that would have potentially made Discovery's decisions to be completely foolish. Other things to note. Again, no Commander Reno. The robot crew member is learning more and more from the sphere data they received a few episodes back, which to me reinforces the theory in my mind that she'll become one with a Discovery computer at some point. And speaking of the sphere data, I am super worried that this is going to become some kind of Deus Ex Machina device in future episodes. The entire Saru situation was solved because this being had just so happened to record thousands of years of data for Kaminar. My final thoughts are this. This episode was obviously a filler that we could have easily done without. The only real benefit of it was to establish that Pike believes the Red Angel to be a guiding being seeking to right different wrongs, while Section 31 thinks it's a threat. Again, some of the performances were really great, but overall the actions taken during the episode put this one slightly above Episode 3 for me, which is currently sitting at the bottom for Season 2. I'm still looking forward to uncovering the mystery of Spock and who this red being is, and what their true intentions are going to be. And while I have already called this out in previous videos, I swear if it's just Michael Burnham from the future though, I'm gonna lose it.